live. Yeah, so I am hoping that this works. I've never done that with live streaming. Normally, I would try to use YouTube, but I'm running into trouble with that. So I thought I'd stream here. Uh, I'm due for a Bob report, especially because this is such a pivotal month. And I'm just looking at how many things are happening this month, and I realize I don't really have a good time. And I'm kind of bored. It's Sunday at the con already, there's not a lot to do, so I figured why not do this here? So yeah, when we look at what's coming up next, we have, for those that aren't aware, we are not doing any Pendragon pretty much this month. We still have a little bit of a holdover. Like if you need a Pendragon itch, make sure you come check out Sunday nights. We'll be doing a Roll for Wishes uh, Pendragon, but I'll get to that in a little bit. Let's talk about October overall because it's probably pretty important. So October, we have a couple of different uh, events that'll be happening. Um, First and foremost, we have a three-part actual play with the gentleman gamer Matthew Dawkins. He's going to be running a three-part Dark Ages Chronicle. It's going to be fantastic. And you can see that starting this Saturday. So that's going to hit the ground running real fast. After that, we have um, what should I do next? Let's talk about Wishes. So, Roll for Witches would also work, I suppose. But yeah, so for Roll for Wishes, we're going to be doing two main things with them. The first is Roll for Wishes Pendragon. So, we're going to have 3 episodes of that. The first one starts this Sunday, so a week from now, and that will be for charity. That's Make a Wish Foundation's Roll for Wishes, and we will be bringing in a bunch of GMs that aren't me, so it gives me a month to write and prepare for the next stage of Pendragon. We close out Anarchy in September, so that's why we're doing that. For the Pendragon event, it'll be more of like a monk and clergy style event, and it will be run by Liam as a GM, and it's also meant to feature uh, David Larkins, who's kindly agreed, the line editor for Pendragon. He'll be joining us as a player, so looking forward to that. Um, so aside from that, Roll for Wishes will also be doing another Roll for Wishes game, a single one shot of Daggerheart, and that will include Monty Glue as a player from the Unexpectables, the GM from the Unexpectables. So looking forward to that. That will be GM'd by Cyberbro, who you're probably familiar with if you're familiar with my channel. He's on lots of content. We do. Uh, we also have, and that will be our normal Tuesday gathering of branches or Summerlin crew that they'll be playing with. So lots of familiar faces, and though that one will be no faces actually, we'll be doing that one in more of a bobbling head scenario or V2. I'd say V2, but we don't have a lot of fancy art. I need to talk actually to Neil Sketches because he is real quick with the art, and I'm wondering if we could, we do our session 0 the week beforehand. I'm wondering if we could turn around just some basic sketches so that way we can use those. I will be following up. Um, Mr. Sideways Bob. Oh no, so it didn't flip. Let's do that then. That'll work. So I was upside down or sideways, and now I should be right. I guess in phone mode that makes sense. Uh, so aside from that, that's Roll for Wishes. That's talking about the upcoming content on. Sorry, there's a lot going on here. It's a lot more complicated than I thought it would be. But yeah, so we have the 2 events for Roll for Wishes. We have the vampire game. Also waiting for confirmation from B. Dave Larkins, wow, B. Dave Walters. So B. Dave did respond quite favorably to an interview. should have that interview lined up in October, I'm hoping, just based on his initial response. But we're waiting for kind of the formality of that to work stuff out, whether or not that'll actually happen or not. So we'll find out very soon if that's going to happen. So, um, next thing next, it's getting real busy here. Uh, hopefully, let me just check in. Are you able to hear me okay? Like, I should have my muted mic on, but I want to verify. Let's wait for someone in chat to confirm that you can actually hear me. Okay, excellent. Hopefully, it's not too much background noise. It should be filtering it out. Yeah, so these things are cool. It's got like a silence mode. It's really good at the noise cancellation. But so we've got the Two Roll for Wishes events. We've got the Vampire by Matthew Dawkins. We got an interview with B. David Walters. And then we have Delta Green. There we go. Starting on this Saturday as well. That'll be run by GM Trent. And that's going to be a 3 or 4 parter. We'll figure out if it's 3 or 4 parts soon. But that's going to be featuring Cyberbro and then Thomas from the Sunday game. So we should have that to look forward to. Going into October, it's been interesting because I'm going to be producing a lot of things here, but I'm not going to be running anything. So I'm curious what that's going to look like. Um, I don't think I've done that before. I get to be a player. It's weird, but that gives me hopefully lots of time to like prep and write for the game that will be out. So here's to hoping. Um, Back in November with Pendragon in 2 of the 3 games. So Sundays is back with the Boy King. Our Tuesdays is back with a to be named chronicle. Still piecing around 2 or 3 ideas, and we'll keep those quiet for now. The team will get a chance to vote on what makes sense. When I've narrowed it down to top 3, but I want to get to a top 3 first of ones I like, because it can be a little spoilery, and I want to make sure I cement a couple of key pieces for direction, because otherwise we've had pretty good direction for the naming, matching what the chronicle's about or the chapter's about, and I want to keep with that. Fridays, not unfortunately, Fridays we'll be taking a break from Pendragon because we realized that was a perfect wrap for all those characters on Friday. But the players still want to play, and we talked about other ideas in Pendragon, and we thought those would just be much the same or kind of a distraction. Like one of the key things people play Pendragon for is to do a generational game. So they wanted to continue that as players. We gave a vote and we decided to play a different game for about 6 to 8 months. Well, the next generation grows up. So we'll be back probably in what the next age after Boy King, which is called Conquest. So we expect them to be back there. Should be a good time. In the meantime, you can join us on Fridays, starting in November. Be playing a weird mashup, big kind of Conan-esque or Hyboria, but it's going to be set in like the mythical age of World of Darkness. So these will be larger than life mortals in fantastical age between the uh, life or the like before the fall of mythic Atlantis, let's say. That's kind of the era we're playing that game in. We're using the V20 rules for the most part. If you are familiar with my exclusive content set in Ubar, um, that is that is the first city of vampire lore. It's going to be kind of the same setting or same idea, I won't explain exactly what years they mesh up to because that's part of the fun of it. Um, but yeah, if you like that style or like that style of like a Mythic Age World of Darkness, where it's a little more Conan than it is World of Darkness, you should come check that out. Should be a lot of fun. Yeah, the Patreon exclusive uh, is indeed Ubar, but this one will not be Patreon exclusive. This Hyboria kind of concept will continue to run on Fridays. So make sure you check that out. But thanks, Muse. That's such a good point. Wanted to talk about Patreon, so I'm doing more there in general. I'm making Pendragon cards now. I'm posting my session zeros there now for free. So there will be a free layer that's worth being a part of if you want to come check that out and subscribe. It's probably still worth your time if you like the content we do because you'll get behind the scenes access to things that are happening. Sometimes you'll get interviews in raw format before they're published in the edited form, such as the Mike Curry one. Hey, welcome in All Things Fantasy. Yeah, so lots of Pendragon coming, but in the meantime, um, October is our busiest month of anything, including lots of guest spots, and lots of premium guest spots. Um, so stay tuned for the Vampire game. That one's our big, it's our big production. Um, in November, we are just cementing details, but we should have John Wick coming in to run a 2 session of Legend of the Five Rings, which is super exciting to have a game designer come in and run their own game, especially someone as hype as John. John, if you don't know, is my favorite game designer of all time. He taught me a lot about GMing as well. So, um, just from reading his books, um, all his GM sections in his books were like they were food for anyone trying to figure out how this GM thing works before an age where you could just go watch Matt Mercer. Um, and I still think you're going to learn something from his words that you won't catch from just watching someone do it. So, yeah, shout out to that. And then in December, we have Paula Deming joining us. And Paula, you might recognize from the Glass Cannon Network and a whole smattering of other actual plays. She ran paid games of Cthulhu at Gen Con for Chaosium. So she's she's a pretty big star out there in the actual play world. And we've got her coming in to run a 2-shot of Call of Cthulhu in December. So looking forward to that. Um, Lastly, I'll just talk about like a shift with Pendragon we're doing in general, just so you're aware of it. Oh, and we do have our players cemented for the Paula Deming game. That's we have Jeff from the Lollygaggers joining us, and by us, uh, I mean Serpentine Muse, aka Rebecca from Tuesdays. We have Cyberbro and myself, and then Jeff from the Lollygaggers joining for the Paula Deming game. Um, for Pendragon, I did the math and wanted to see how long it's going to take us to finish a great Pendragon campaign at our own pace because I realized just how slow we've been going. And if we were to maintain the same pedestrian pace we're at right now, it would take us like another decade. And I don't want to risk that. I don't want to do that. It's really important to me to tick that off my bucket list. Completed the Great Pendragon campaign. So the trick is how to do that gracefully, how to speed it up without losing quality. And I think what we'll aim for is 2 to 3, like aim for 2 sessions, sometimes end up with 3. Um, I'm, at least getting into a monthly cadence. Even at a monthly cadence, if we weren't faster than a month, it'd still take 4 or 5 years. So what I want to do is get us up to 2 or 3 weeks so we can continue to shave off these things and get to the point where we complete this mega campaign at some point. But it's going to be a balancing act against, you know, having those moments where we can still go deep into the drama or deep into if it's too much of an agenda, it's not that interesting. I don't think if it feels very scripted or on the railroad for players, that's not that's not very fun. So we'll um, we'll be balancing those gracefully, but I'm confident we can get it down to three. That's easy. We just have to do less piece, to be honest. But that is the game plan. So we're back with Pendragon, two Pendragon games, and then a third will rejoin probably in 6 or 7 months. But in the meantime, you can watch that group go play in a mythical, dark reflected world of our reality. Conan meets Mythic Age World of Darkness. That's the elevator pitch for that one, and that will be on Fridays with the Friday crew. Um, we're gonna keep doing. We're gonna stop and look at what we're gonna do, or what we proceed with after these first three kind of expansions into different IPs, different uh, clusters of games. I think depending on their success, that will tell me whether or not we keep doing the higher ends, these big names and get them to run something really cool for us. Um, because I think there's a model there that would be really worthwhile for people to watch and enjoy. Uh, but I need to see that it's successful and to some degree worth it. And that's going to be kind of a gut feel for me. It's going to be a little bit of analytics, but it's also going to be me having a sense of whether or not we're getting visibility. Because visibility by itself might be worth that. It's certainly going to be fun. So it's going to be like I'm never going to regret bringing in Matthew Dawkins and Paula Deming and John Wick. But whether or not we continue at that monthly pace will depend on how well those three go. At the very least, we're going to be taking a break in January. I don't know if I've announced this yet. I've talked to people about it, but right now my plan is to run a Night of the Seven Kingdoms era Song of Ice and Fire role playing game miniseries in January as Night of the Seven Kingdoms TV show starts. So that's our game plan right now for January, for the new year. That'll give me some time to assess how Matthew did in October, how John did in November, and how Paula did for us in December. Yeah. Are there any more questions? I think I rattled through everything important. Oh, maybe one last thing. We are going to be recruiting more guests for. I've been heavily inspired by LA by Night and the way they did guests, and I think we're funny enough. I had never watched LA by Night, and I feel like we were doing some of that early with AP. Shout out to AP who is in the house or was a few minutes ago as well. Um, oh, Pendragon will still be going in January. For those that asked, yeah, we'll just be doing a Saturday um, mini series. But I'll be able to assess how those other games do, the ones where we hire in some top talent, and yeah. But yeah, we're going to be bringing in more guests. The two long-term guests we had, long-form guests we had with AP returning for, I think 5 or 6. Um, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I think it was there 5 times. Most by Duke Gorlow and then with Lord Alabaster once. Um, those were all hit episodes, so it's worth doing. Um, and then Gary Isiagrias, another prime example of what a great guest can add rather than just having yet another NPC run by the GM. um, that's about it. You'll probably see me taking a little bit of a stream break outside of those games. But you might also see me playing more Final Fantasy Tactics, the Evilist Chronicles, because that's like Final Fantasy Tactics is my favorite video game of all time, which most people that know me know that. The fact that they've done this now with so much voice acting just makes that was like the only thing I ever wanted as like a kid before voice acting was in these types of games, or when it was like terrible, like Resident Evil, the first Resident Evil. So, looking forward to more of that. Yeah, I'll stop and take any questions from anybody just before I wrap up here.
Fifth cosplay. Okay.
All right. What was my favorite moment from the Summerlin Enchantment Arc? My favorite moment. God, I've got two in my mind. I really enjoyed the tension and the interaction, the sense of urgency the players had during the St. George arc where they were fleeing Siagris, who had the place sieged. And my other favorite was up in Camden Yards um, when the assassin came for Finnegan. I thought those like more dramatic events brought out more around all the players were shining during those events because they were pulled in. So having fun at the con, yeah, it's been a blast. It's based pretty heavy around the Battlestar Galactica reunion, and today there's not really any D&D stuff, but the D&D game that Blackwater D&D put on with a couple of the black the Battlestar Galactica crew was hilarious, and they did great. It felt like more of an improv performance in D&D, and I think that's kind of how those things always work. So no shade thrown at them, it did the job. It filled all the seats. There were like two seats empty. That was like one of the better ones I saw as far as like participation. Um, and the cosplay crew has been out full force today. That's exciting to see. Um, I'll probably post some pictures in our Discord. So if you aren't part of our Discord, you should join because I can't always get things into like Patreon or YouTube all the time, but I don't feel bad posting a bunch of pictures in our Discord. Um, and then I've also like a couple of my real life buddies are here at the con with me, so we've also been drinking pretty heavy at night, which has been fun. But they're talking about doing it again tonight, and I'm too old for this shit. Um, 3 nights in a row. Uh, I don't know. Probably just have some water and have a drink or two. But yeah, uh, con's been fun. We had a couple of the Battlestar Galactica um, crew come out and have drinks with us last night. We were at the Earl's restaurant chain, and where we are is a place called MetroTown in Burnaby, which is one of the suburbs of Vancouver, and it's there's some pretty cool Asian markets around here that were worth seeing. Had I had Korean for lunch today. It's the only lunch I've had. I've been trying to stay away from eating during the day because I knew I was going to drink my calories later. So I've been trying to limit to one meal a day while I've been down here. But I did want to hit this Korean place, and it was more. It's one of those places with like a lineup, and you're stuck waiting for an hour if you don't get in. So it made more sense for us to hit lunch than it did dinner. Um, what else? Anything else crazy? Well, just better than normal weather here in Vancouver. Like it's not usually bright and sunny. It's usually quite rainy. I don't think it's rained once since being here. It's been gray every day other than today. But yeah, today is really nice. It's sunny. It's relatively warm. Um, there's always that wind from from the ocean, but it's still really nice. But Metrotown is kind of like they got a major mall here, and then everything's built up around the mall. Uh, so lots of things to check out, lots of walking. I saw there was an NBA guy when we were walking through the mall. Forget his name now. Something Green. It wasn't Draymond Green. I didn't know him. I'm only a casual fan of the NBA, but he was signing autographs in one of the stores in the mall. Um, yeah, some of the cosplay stuff's great. I'll probably go catch Draco Mac. He does a lot of big armor, power armor stuff, like a lot of the um, Warhammer 40k armors and such. I'll probably go grab him for a photo. Um, I see lots of opportunity with these type of cons. I wish there was more, just more D&D happening around it, more role-playing games happening around these cons. It seems to be like this division now, where it's like if it's fandom type con, there's like almost no board games, D&D, video games, war games, and I'm like, I think that's kind of a mistake because um, I imagine a lot of these people pay their ticket and then they go through a couple times like I do, and they're probably for the most part less socially like uh, not capable. What's the word? Inclined, let's say. They might not want to go and talk to everybody, so there's kind of like nothing for them to do after they do 2 or 3 laps around the place. And that's not this con. It's like every con that doesn't have board games, tabletop, and role playing attached to them. I think there's, you know, it's never the best idea. Oh, there goes the admiral. um, but yeah, so I think there's an opportunity to see more of that in any of these cons because then you get these people staying rather than like doing the rounds, feeling awkward and leaving again. You see it with the cosplayers; they'll stick around really, for the competition, and they're a lot more active and involved. I think you would get the gaming crew more engaged if they had gaming to do. Like it's cool to be able to watch a little bit of gaming, or to pay like $100 to game with your celebrity person of choice, right? But I think just open tables or some organized play would be pretty wise. Yeah, so that kind of rounds out everything I'm thinking right now. Um, this is going to be a big question mark of just how much um, this new wave of other games that we're doing does for our visibility and whether or not it's worth continuing. But if I see probably anything trending upward pretty significantly, that would be enough for me. Because I think what I would love to do is have our groups who are spread out throughout the world too be able to meet up from time to time at a major con for a panel or for an actual play live would be ideal. And then for us to be able to game live together, right? And use the con as an excuse to do that. But even if we can't do that, even if that's not possible, you know, um, or we don't quite hit that mark, it's like we have enough talent involved in what we do with all the players spread out, and it's like how can we get these folks more involved at cons closer to them as well, not just like I think I want to move away from, or I do want to move away from like the ticking time bomb brand as being me. And I realized that, well, I probably shouldn't have named it after myself. We didn't know what we were doing at the time. At the time, it was just, yeah, I was the one producing it, right? But I really do like the idea of being able to kind of move the brand slightly away from me and, Time Bob Network. I don't know. We'll wait. I'm not there yet, but when we do shift, that's kind of what I'm thinking. Something that really talks about our troop of people that are involved and participating in stuff on this channel, uh, rather than just being my face and my name. So, yeah, I'll just take one more question, then I should probably shut this off. Lots of people are staring at me like I'm weird. This is a normal lobby I'm in. It's because it's a little quieter than upstairs. Okay. I'll give it another 30 seconds because I realize there's a delay. All right. In the meantime, um, I'll say one last thing, which is I kind of mentioned this for interesting guests. If you are interested and you want to be on camera, you have a good camera, good mic, you're charismatic, to some degree, just watch our channel to see what we kind of look for. Um, Please feel free to reach out to me. We are looking to collaborate. We're looking for more guests. If you have presence elsewhere, or even if you don't, um, just hit me up. We'll talk. All right, I'm going to go ahead and wrap there then. Thanks for watching my Bob report. I'm going to post a couple pictures with some cosplayers upstairs before this thing runs out of battery. But thanks for watching, y'all. I'll talk to you later.